mentoring series. Tonight's webinar series will be conducted by Chris Cathers, who is our technology guru. And the topic for tonight is business technology, but primarily from a marketing and sales point of view, and that includes web, online sales, social media, webinars, etc. Before I pass the baton over to Chris, I would like to read this acknowledgement. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge with respect the traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, whose lands this program is based, and the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Wasanic people, whose historical relationship continues on with the land to this day. We thank you all for attending virtually from different traditional territories you reside, and welcome one and all to the webinar series. The webinars themselves are funded by Songhees Nation, Victoria Native Friendship Center, Songhees Innovation Center, and Van City as well. Before we start with Chris, I'd just like to go over a bit of the schedule that we will be covering for the balance of the webinars. Yesterday, we had the first of two parts of business technology. Today, as I said, we're going to be talking about the web, selling online, running webinars, and marketing through social media, etc. And that's always been a very topical and popular presentation. Next week, we have two-part series, Monday, Tuesday, that talks about marketing, branding, and guerrilla marketing for Indigenous businesses. And there's a lot of insight offered by Lex Dunn, who is a marketing consultant and professional. I think you've met Lex before when he talked about communication and networking. And next week's series has always been a very timely and popular one. The last two are June 29th and 30th. And these are the two webinar workshops that I will be conducting. And it talks about being a business rebel and the psychology of business and what makes customers tick and the flexible ethics of business and how to use the system, how to stand apart from competition. And it's a really interesting series. It's really the kind of stuff that nobody teaches you about in business school. It's really very edgy stuff, but very important and critical stuff to know as you're planning your business or operating your business and getting a bit of that competitive edge. Again, all completed webinar videos are available on our Thriving online page, helloiamentrepreneur.com/thriving/webinar training videos. So the videos from yesterday and today will be added to this group probably later this week. So I am going to make Chris the presenter. And Chris, when you want any of your YouTubes called up, just let me know and give me, about 10, 15 seconds to get them set up, and then we'll get them run. So here is Chris Cathers on business technology from a marketing and sales point of view.
Good evening, and thank you for the introduction, Jay. Start off by recognizing the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, and I'm based here in Nanaimo. So I'd like to recognize the Nanaimo First Nations people who allow us to work, live, and play on this beautiful land. Nice to see the sun shining for a change today. I don't know about you guys, but I was sure getting sick of the cold this past week. Felt like we're in January, and I know it's good. We need the rain, but I'm ready for summer. So anyways, I'll just give a quick little introduction again about myself for those of you who may have not joined any of the previous workshops that I was a part of. I live based in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island here, and I'm Métis, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have a digital marketing company where I work with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses, organizations, as well as First Nations bands, helping out with communications, marketing, web, video, social content, strategic advertising, search engine optimization, business planning, kind of all the areas around marketing and business. I've been working with Jay for quite a few years now, putting on workshops and webinars around entrepreneurship. I also do some real estate development. I have a few Airbnbs, also involved in some importing business where I import some rooftop tents and resell them. Rooftoptents.ca is a website that I have. So I work with a lot of different companies, who either don't have the capacity, either by the experience or knowledge, or simply the time to kind of manage their marketing and advertising. And marketing and advertising is always changing, thanks to technology, thanks to just new innovations. It's always change. And I studied business and marketing in university, and the stuff that I learned, has completely changed till now. So it's one of those things that you really have to stay on top of and keep educating yourself. And one thing I always tell my clients is this business philosophy. So by an economist by the name of John Deering, who coined the phrase total quality management. And what that means is continuous improvement. So this economist, he went to Japan after the World War, and tried to help Japan and Japanese companies after the war because they were completely devastated. And so he introduced this philosophy of total quality management, which means always. And it's a really good philosophy to take in your business and in your life, really. And what it means is that it's a continuous learning process and always striving to do better and make improvements. And you see that actually today now with Japanese companies like Sony or Hitachi or Nintendo. These companies that Toyota is another good example, who made it a philosophy to always improve and always continuously evolve and change. And you do that through your business by for starters through research and development, or always trying to do a better job, whether that's customer service or getting feedback and trying to improve your products, your services. But you also do that by making investments into marketing and advertising. And because marketing and advertising has changed so much, you always have to stay on top of it. And there's new innovations, new platforms, new apps that are always coming out. So I implore you to really try to learn the new technology, the new marketing, the new systems, the new apps that are available. And sometimes it can seem a little overwhelming, but watch tutorials, talk to people who use it, hire consultants to help you train in it. Like, for example, last night we looked about QuickBooks. So you can really save a lot of money, and it can really help your business a lot. But a strategy is to maybe hire a bookkeeper who's knows QuickBooks really well, so they can set it up and show you a few things and get you going, and then you can kind of take over, or if you need any help, to hire them in some capacity. Because I know what it's like when you're first starting a business and cash flow's tight. So advertising, again, there's never been a better time to be in business and have the capacity of these advertising tools that we have, because before you used to have these huge budgets, but now you don't. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's Google, there's Pinterest, there's Square, there's so many different platforms to be able to get your word out and market your business or your products or services so effectively that I really don't have an excuse anymore. Did you know that 80% of all internet users use Facebook? And the fastest growing demographic of Facebook is actually the baby boomers. Marketers, 93% of marketers use Facebook. And Facebook has a 1.9 billion reach. So it just goes to show you the impact that some social media applications, especially such as Facebook, can have. And so when you leverage these tools and maybe make small investments as far as advertising, they can pay huge dividends. You probably all have seen it, who those use Facebook, that when you're scrolling through your screen, you'll see there'll be a sponsored post. Maybe even something that you previously looked at when you're browsing the internet, and you're like, hey, what the heck? This was something I was browsing on earlier. How do they know that I'm interested in that? Well, that's the crazy thing, is that these platforms know a lot of information about you, and they know where you live. They know who your brothers and sisters are. They know what your interests are. They know how old you are. They know your relationship status. They just know a ton of information. And so what they've done is they've found a way to actually monetize that and provide this as a service to their advertisers. And so one of the things you can do in business is you can really target advertise really effectively through Facebook. Again, 80% of people use Facebook who use the internet, and I don't know too many people who don't use the internet nowadays. So those statistics are pretty astounding. And so I'm just going to put on a YouTube video, and I think I can do it, Jay. I'm just going to try to see if I can do it myself. But it's advertising on social media, and I'm just going to see if I can try to do it here. I think I can. Yep, I got it. So this is a quick little video here, a few minutes on advertising on social media.
Hey, wondering if there's anything more that you can be doing now that your social media plan is up and running? Well, the answer is often yes. And many social networks offer paid advertising opportunities that can help you access very specific audiences and get your message out there. Let's jump into it. We'll use the vintage clothing store as our example. Perhaps you've noticed that your best customers seem to come from certain demographics. Let's say women aged about 20 to 35. Wouldn't it be great if you could focus your advertising on people who fit this profile and are more likely to become your customer? Well, social media sites can do this and more. That's because social media sites often know a lot about their users. Think about your Facebook or Google Plus page, for example. Have you included your age and gender on your personal social media pages? Well, many people do. And that's why social media sites are often able to offer businesses the ability to reach such specific groups. Sounds pretty good so far, right? Well, it gets better. Not all women aged 20 to 35 are going to be interested in vintage clothing. So if we can avoid spending money advertising to people who aren't interested in vintage clothing, well, that's a win. Luckily, social media sites can help you narrow down your audience even more. For example, you could target women aged 20 to 35 who are interested in a certain fashion designer, or who have posted about vintage fashion in the past. That would be a great way to focus your advertising only on the people who are most likely to be interested in your shop. And we can take that even further. Like other online advertising channels, you can also target your ads to specific geographic areas. That means you could use your social networks to advertise to women aged 20 to 35 within 25 miles of your shop who are interested in a specific designer that you care about. Pretty cool, right? Social media sites provide great options for targeting ads or content to very specific audiences. And that's a great way to make sure you're investing your marketing budget wisely. Now, let's talk about how paying to promote your messages to social network users can complement your other efforts on social. Building up your presence on social networks is usually a gradual process. Over time, you post interesting, unique content and gain more and more visibility. But what if you wanted to accelerate that process? That's another great reason to try paid advertising on social networks. Say you've got a Twitter page with a few hundred followers so far. What if you wanted to reach a lot more people who aren't necessarily following you yet? Well, you could try a promoted tweet. This is a way to get your shop in front of potential customers fast. For example, your promoted tweet could be shown to people who have tweeted about vintage fashion in the past, or people who follow an influential designer. All of a sudden, you're potentially reaching a lot more than your 200 followers, and hopefully growing your network with even more followers as a result. So that's advertising with social media sites. You get the ability to do some really fancy targeting. And on top of that, you can ramp up your visibility on social networks very quickly, as long as you're willing to pay for it, of course.
All right, so she pretty much kind of just reaffirms what I said, just the power of strategic advertising using social media. And so again, what social advertising allows you to do is it allows you to really, again, dial in the target market, the target advertising. And so, there's, you got Facebook advertising, there's Instagram advertising, and Facebook and Instagram are both owned by Facebook. And so when you do advertise on Facebook, you can also have the option to advertise through Instagram. But just be conscious that if you are doing some advertising on Facebook, that whatever images and text you have will also look good on Instagram. So you'll want to review it on both. I like Facebook and Instagram just because it kind of covers a large demographic. So Facebook again is growing with the baby boomers. It's really popular through all age demographics, but Instagram seems to have a bit younger demographic following. So you can kind of maximize your reach by advertising on both of them. And I noticed there is a trend away from Facebook just because of some of their past issues as far as privacy concerns, that people are kind of stepping away from Facebook a bit. But still, 1.9 billion people, there's not too many people have fully stepped away yet. So again, Instagram, for those of you who don't know what Instagram is basically more of like an image-based social media platform. And it's, you write little hashtag, which is that little pound symbol with, keywords that you want to associate your image with, whether that's, maybe it's Vancouver Island, or maybe it's maybe you're into auto parts and it's cars or 4x4. So you can use these keywords, and they're called hashtags, and you can use them both on Facebook and Instagram. And so then when you go to search on Facebook or Instagram for things that interest you, maybe like gardening, for example, you type in gardening, and then people's posts where they tag gardening will show up. Again, maybe like, for example, that lady who had the vintage clothing business, you type in vintage clothing in the search on Instagram or on Facebook, and then people who've tagged vintage clothing will show up, and you could have the option to follow them or like their page. And again, it's about joining the conversation, and it's about being in front of that conversation and finding opportune times to use your business and to market your business through there. So she also mentioned Twitter. Twitter is another powerful social media platform where it's more text-based, and it used to be just so many characters, but I know they've kind of got loose around that. But it's I do know a lot of small business people use Twitter, and it's good for kind of news and staying up to date on world and current events. But again, like I said in the last workshop, the strategy wise is you want to use maybe one or two social media platforms and then do them well. So I want to also go back. I think I'm going to post another video here, and it's for those of you who don't have a Facebook business page. It's just a quick video about how to create a Facebook business page. And go here. Close this. Hey Jay, do you know how to close the video off so I can put the URL back? All right, there we go. There we go. All right, so just a quick video about how to set up your Facebook business page for those of you who don't have one.
Need a quick Facebook tutorial for setting up a business page? Well, this is it. And the good news is you can set one up for your business in less than 5 minutes. Let me show you how. What's What's up, busy people? Welcome to 5-Minute Social Media. My name is Jerry Potter, and today we're talking about how to set up a Facebook business page. You've decided your business needs a Facebook. Well, let me tell you this. First of all, not all businesses need a business page, but I will say most of them do. To find out if you're the exception, I put a video together for that. You can find it right here or in the description of this video. By the time we're done today, you'll know how to set up a Facebook business page, and I'll tell you how you can get it verified as well. By the way, Facebook business pages, fan pages, like pages, they're all the same kind of page. Facebook just calls them business pages now. So to get started, make sure you have your company logo or something for your profile picture, something for your cover photo, a big photo to go on top, and then all your pertinent information. What is your website, email if you have that, phone, address, business hours, any information about your business, which I assume you already know. Gather that, and you can do this in just a few minutes. All right, let's get started.
Now, there are a few different ways you can get to the create a page, but I think the easiest thing is just be at facebook.com. I'm logged into my account here. And you do, by the way, have to have a personal profile to create a business page. So that is a first step if you don't even have a Facebook account. But once you've got that, you'll see right here at the top, it says create. Click on that. All these different options. I'm going to say create page. And that gets us here. Now, if for some reason you don't see that on your page, I'll include the direct link to this in the description of this video. Next up, you're going to choose, are you a business or brand or a community or public figure? This is pared way down. They used to have way more options than this. So for this tutorial, I'm going to set up a page for a fictional consulting company. So I'm just going to choose business or brand. Then I need to name the page. What did I call it? Oh yeah, it was based on a logo template I found in Canva. Vague Whale Consulting. Next, you're going to choose a category to describe your page. And in this situation, you just start typing something and find something that works for you. So consulting agency, there I go. I'm going to choose that. Then hit continue. Next, it'll ask you to add a profile picture. Yes, you can skip this, but hopefully you already have it ready. When you're adding your profile picture, if you are a one-person business or you represent the business, I think it should be your face. If the company has a logo, make it the company logo. Don't make it anything else. Remember, most people are going to see it most of the time in a tiny circle on a mobile device, so it should be something easily recognizable. So I had this logo standing by. Next up, upload a cover photo. This goes at the top of your business page. This is a photo that should represent your business. If you have a physical location, it might be a picture of your facility. If you have a staff, it could be a picture of your staff. Later in this video, I'll point you in the direction more about what to do when you're trying to decide what goes in your cover photo. But I'll go ahead and upload the one that I chose for Vague Whale Consulting. Once your cover photo is uploaded, you can drag it to reposition it, figure out the best spot for it to be. And just like that, you have a page. That's it. But you're definitely going to want to do more than that. For example, you're going to want to go in and fill out all of your company information. So you see right here, it says add a short description. We consult businesses on how to grow, but we never give them specific advice, just really vague suggestions. I'm sure this company will do very well. Hit save and continue. If you've got a phone number, put that in. If not, uncheck that. This company is fake, doesn't have a website, but I'll put it in anyway. Next, it says, now that you've updated your page info, see if there are other details you can add that will be helpful to people who visit your page. Let's go ahead and click Edit Page Info. This is where you can go through and fill out all of your information. You can add additional categories. So if I type in consulting again, let's say I am a business consultant. So I can add that in and hit save. If you decided you do have a phone number, email address, location, all these different details about your company, your business hours. Fill out as much of this as possible because eventually, if somebody's looking for a business on Facebook, the more information you have, the higher the chances that somebody is going to find you. All right, last step, you're going to want to give your page a username. This is where your web address will be on Facebook. So it'll be facebook.com/whatever your username is. So click right here underneath your profile picture and title, and then type in what you would like it to be. Lucky for me, Vague Whale Consulting is available. So I go ahead and hit create username. So now if I look up at the top here in the address bar, You can see it's facebook.com/Vague Whale Consulting.
So there you go. You have a Facebook business page. Two more things you should do. One is get it verified. If you are a local business company or organization, it's super easy. And I've got a link on how to do that down in the description of this video. And secondly, I've put together a 5-minute Facebook facelift. So whether you've had your page for 60 seconds or for 5 years, this is some things to look for in a 5-minute video on how to optimize it.
All right, there. So this gives you a little bit of an intro to how to set up a Facebook page, business page. It's pretty simple. You don't want to, and I've seen this in the past, is where people think that if they create a Facebook account, they can just use that as their business page. You can't actually do that, and it doesn't work good, and it just doesn't look good. So I just avoid doing that. If you are going, one thing to keep in mind is that you do need to have a Facebook account in order to set up a Facebook page. Now, if you don't want to or don't plan on running your Facebook page, and you plan on having someone else update the page, you can add administrators to the page by going into the settings and adding people. But again, they have to also have a Facebook account. And I would recommend having a couple administrators if there are a few people involved in the business, just because, your Facebook business page is always on. And there's not really a way that you can stop people from commenting on it. So you really need to kind of monitor it all the time. And it's good to have a few different administrators to keep an eye on it. Like, for example, I manage a Facebook account for an Indigenous band, and there's a lot of mudslinging on it. There's a ton of politicking and drama. And so, we always have to stay on top of moderating those comments. Generally for small businesses, you're not really going to find that. But sometimes, there can be people who go on there and will spam your Facebook page, which is, put a link to maybe one of your competitors, or put a link that directs people to another page, or what have you. Or sometimes there's little bots that'll go on and post stuff up. So yes, you just want to make sure you keep an eye on that. Another thing is you want to really make sure that you are regularly posting to your page. Make sure you fill out all the description, all the contact information on there with links back to your website. And I want to make sure that your image on your cover looks professional, and that you have a good profile picture. Make sure that doesn't look stretched or it looks pixelated or distorted. And because every time that you are going to make a post or share on there, your little profile photo is going to show up along with your post. So you want to make sure that looks good. And the other day I mentioned Canva, which is a free graphic design program, and they have some really good templates to make your cover image and make your profile image. So I would recommend maybe using a combination of like a logo for your profile, and then maybe a nice banner that has your call to action or has your tagline, right? Like we provide this and this and that, or providing or helping people with this solution or something, or why we do this, that kind of thing. So you just want to make it clean and simple. I'm sure in the marketing workshops you'll hear the acronym KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid. So that's always a really good thing to keep in mind when you are using social media for your marketing. And so again, another thing you really want to make sure you do is post content, and make sure it's you want to keep and think of the 80-20 rule. So you want to think like 80% entertaining, informative, educational, or basically something that gives people an interest for reading or viewing it, and then maybe 20% is the sales side of it, right? So that's why having a really good blog can be really beneficial as far as posting to your social media platforms. So you want to have a good website with a blog, post articles on your blog, because not only does it rank your website up higher, but you can use that content to share on your social media platforms and drive people back to it. And you can encourage people to share it, and then also, it's like we learned, is that you can also promote and advertise it. And when you do have a business page, it'll give you the option to boost your post. And so that's the advertising component of it. There is another platform that Facebook has, and it's called Facebook Business Manager, and it's a little more advanced as far as using it to develop your advertising in Facebook. And it's not a bad idea to familiarize yourself with it, Facebook Business Manager. But from your business page, you can also do strategic Facebook advertising. And so when you go in there, you'll see it'll give you the option to post it, but it'll also give you the option to boost it. And boost it is where you pay for the advertising. So you'll need a credit card, and you'll need to set that up beforehand. But then when you go in there, it'll give you the option to, like, what city do you want to advertise it into? Maybe it gives you an option to have a radius to how far away you can, that your ads will be shown. And then you can, again, dial in like the age, the sex, and then what's the really interesting part of it is the interests. So you can basically, like the lady was saying in that short video, is that you can dial it in for people who are interested in just vintage clothing, or people who have searched for that particular designer. You can, I've got clients where, we market and advertise to women who are homeowners who live in Nanaimo and Duncan between the ages of 30 and 65. So again, it's important that you know who your target market and your target audience is. But what you can also do is, if you have, say, maybe you have 2 or 3 different target markets, maybe you sell a few different products, or you have a few different services, and you have, maybe you sell to, a specific demographic that's a certain age. You can have a certain messaging for that post go directly just to that demographic within that age group, and then you can have maybe you need to do a target post to another demographic in a certain age and a certain gender with certain different interests. You can have your messaging on your post, which will basically formulate your ad, target to them. So again, you can really target based on these type of interest and this locations and the age. And it really is probably one of the better forms of advertising. Now, the other really good form of advertising, and this is especially true for service-based businesses who rely on constantly getting new clients, is Google AdWords. So basically, you've probably all seen it when you've searched through Google and you typed in something, and then at the top there'll be 3 different posts that have maybe local businesses who are advertising. For example, like maybe you're looking for an electrician to fix some faulty wiring in your house. So you type in, say, Victoria electricians, or Nanaimo electricians, or whatever, wherever you are, and then what you'll see is at the very top there will be maybe 3 or 4 links with a little bit of blurb of information about who they are and their phone numbers, and those are paid Google ads. And so how those work are based on what's called cost per click, and they're done through a bidding process. So it basically, when someone clicks on that ad, that business pays Google a click rate, and that's what's called click rate. And so, but what that traffic is it's very targeted and it's very precise. So it's people or businesses who are specifically looking for your product or your service, and they're clicking on your ad because they're interested in hiring you or buying your product or service, because that's exactly what they're searched for in Google. So this has a pretty good reach as far as just reaching people who are interested in your products or services. Now, the cost will be determined based on how many people also want to be in that same spot. And how it works is through what's called keywords. And understanding keywords is really important part of small business and marketing and websites, because what happens is, well, on the search engine side for how you rank on your website, your website has so much content in it, and you have these words and phrases, and Google has these little spiders that crawl around all over the interweb, and they basically index your site based on these keyword phrases. And then they say, okay, see, this business has vintage clothing a number of times on it, so they must be a vintage clothing location. Oh, I see, it says Victoria a bunch of times, BC, and vintage clothing, so they must be a vintage clothing provider in Victoria. So they're going to rank your website and make your website show up high up in the Google search when people are searching vintage clothing. Now, how that works with the Google AdWords and the Google advertising is, you put in the keywords that you want your ad to show up when people are searching for your business. So, for example, like the Victoria electricians, maybe Victoria electrical contractors, or best Victoria electrician, or electrician in my area. And it's really important to understand how your customers search for you and how they get there. So one strategy is you can always type in, say, vintage clothing stores in Victoria, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, Google search results will also make other suggestions and other words to search for that same search. So that's a good way to get ideas on what keywords to have on there. Now, Google AdWords will also give you some examples of different keywords, and there's different strategies that you can take with the Google AdWords, and it's best to research a bit more how to do it, or hire someone to help set you up, or help you manage it, because if you're not on top of it and you're not managing it well, it could end up costing you a lot of money. But the great thing about the Google AdWords is that you can set the budget per month, you can set the budget per day, and you can literally turn it on and turn it off with your click of your mouse. So, but if you let it ride, then you can it can end up costing you a lot of money, and if you're not on top of it, it can be pretty expensive. So I've got just another video here that I'm going to show you, and it's basically the Facebook versus Google advertising. And so I'm just copying that right now, putting it up here.
There's two major advertising platforms out there. There's Facebook, and then there's Google. Which one should you use? Hey everyone, I'm Neil Patel, and today I'm going to break down the difference between Facebook advertising and Google advertising and show you which one you should use for your business. First off, Google is intent-based. So with Google AdWords, people type in based on what they're looking for. Buy a cheap cell phone, cheap hotels in Las Vegas. These are all examples of things that people would be typing in. That's what Google AdWords is great for. When someone types in auto insurance on Google AdWords, the chances are they're looking for auto insurance. On the flip side, with Facebook ads, there really is no intent base. So with Facebook ads, you can't just go and create an ad being like, I want a ton of people to buy our auto insurance, so let me just create an ad that says, auto insurance, buy now, get Geico right away. That won't work. Why? Because people who are on Facebook are looking to connect with their friends. They're looking to look at pictures, videos, people's walls. For that reason, your ads won't convert the same way that they would on Google. So if you're an intent-based business where you're selling products or services, and you're just going to go after people who are looking for a specific intent, such as they need consulting help, they need accounting help, they need to buy a product or a service like an iPhone or a leash for their dog, whatever it may be, Google AdWords is great for that. If you want to go after a broad audience, That's what Facebook is amazing for. So for example, if you want to go after women who are interested in beauty because you want them to know about your new beauty product that's revolutionizing the industry, Facebook is amazing for that. The main difference is Facebook's for a broad segmented audience, such as like beauty, people who are car enthusiasts, people who are business owners. And with Facebook, you can create ads that drive people to a landing page. That landing page shouldn't just be, buy my product right now, it's cheap. The ideal way to convert people from Facebook is to first give them some educational information, such as a blog post that breaks down why your product or service is amazing, what they're going to learn, maybe drive them to a webinar first, and then from there, convert them into a customer. So again, Google AdWords is for intent-based. Facebook is to target a whole category segment, such as beauty, automotive, business owners. And then from there with Facebook, unlike Google, you don't send them to a page where they can buy right away. It's more sending them to a page that educates first and then gets them to purchase. If you're selling a low-end ticket product on Facebook, you can drive them to a checkout page or a product page first, but it tends not to convert as well as sending them to an educational page first.
All right, so that short little video just kind of give you a little bit of information about the differences between Google and Facebook and the intent on the advertising. So again, Google AdWords works great for service-based companies, maybe home services, or where your business area is in a close proximity, and maybe you want to track customers, where Facebook, Google may not be the best place if you're selling products through the World Wide Web, where maybe Facebook might be a little bit better that way. But it doesn't hurt to have a mix of the two. Again, you can just basically set the keywords on the Google AdWords for just the words that you want to have. So I noticed there was a comment on there that said, is there a certain amount of posts on Facebook that you should be making? You want to basically do maybe 1 or 2 per day, or maybe 3 per week, but a max of 2 per day, no more than that, because what'll happen is people will start to unfollow your page and they'll start thinking you're a little bit spammy. So so you kind of giving you a bit of an introduction around the Facebook and the Google advertising platforms. And so what then you need is obviously to have a good website, and then on your website you want to have contact forms. You want to give them more information about you. You want to educate them about the fact that what it is that you're selling, or the industry that you're in. People want to know that you're an authority on that product or service, and that's a really good point that I should emphasize, and that is authority. So people like doing business with other people who are authorities on their business or their industry. So whether that's maybe a financial planner, or maybe you're a artist, or maybe you're a marketing service provider, or what have you, a photographer. The thing is you want to use these platforms like the web, your website, social media, to position yourself as an authority in your business, because people want to do business with you, but they want to trust you. And now we live in the digital world, so you have to build that trust first. Especially if you have bigger ticket items, or you have more complex services or products. It's that kind of, you're building that relationship, and you can do that through creating an authority, and that is by displaying and showing your professionalism online, by using your blog to write about your industry or your products or services, and then again using your all these platforms to promote and market and advertise it. But then what you want to do is use your website like a funnel, right? So you are driving all these people from all these different ways, advertising, social media, and email. We'll get to that just after this. But you drive them all to your website, and then you have, your contact information there. And again, you want to make sure your contact information is everywhere on your site. A lot of times people just go to your website strictly for your contact information, or your address or your phone or email address to reach out to you. So a good habit is to make sure that in the top of every page, as well as the bottom of every page, as you put your contact information. And if you don't want to have your phone or your email listed on there, make sure you have a good contact form where people can fill out some information, their name, their phone number, their email, and a little area to put a message in. And you can make those certain fields mandatory where they have to leave their phone number or they have to leave their email address. Another quick sidebar strategy is to make sure you have a CAPTCHA or some kind of spam preventer on that form, so that you don't get a ton of spam, because that's how you can get a lot of spam sent to your email, is if you have a website and you have a contact form and you don't have one of those things like, validate you, like I'm not a robot or whatever. So it's a good strategy to have if you don't want to get a ton of spam. But you use your website like a funnel, and that funnel acts like your lead generating system, because really what you're doing in business and marketing and all these different platforms is you're driving, quality, qualified leads to your company. And then it comes down to you to basically, position yourself and deliver on what it is that you're saying you're going to do. And that's the key thing, is that you convert those leads into sales, because you've done all this work setting up all the social media, you spent money all in the advertising, you've done all this groundwork, all this infrastructure development. And, if you get the leads and you don't do anything with them, then you've wasted a ton of money and a ton of time. So make sure you treat every single lead, every single person who contacts you via, whether it's through your social media or whether it's through your website, as very important, because you just don't know where those can go. Some of them won't turn into anything, but there's a chance that maybe one or a couple of them turn out to be clients, and that can obviously pay big dividends for the long term. But again, going back on the Facebook and the social media advertising, the Google AdWords, there really is no better return on your investment as far as advertising goes. Now, it's obviously it's a lot cheaper to maintain your existing clients than it is to go out and get new ones. So it's important that you understand that. So another really good technology and marketing strategy is using email marketing. And you'll see here on the display here, there's a couple suggestions. There's Constant Contact, and as well as MailChimp. I use Constant Contact. Really, there's it's 50-50, half dozen the other. And I'm going to play a quick little video clip here about Constant Contact and kind of how it works. I really like email marketing. I think it works really good. And you'll see here. That link I thought I had was not it, so I got another one here I'm going to play. What is email marketing?
Hello. Nowadays, we're all bombarded with product choices. If you want to stay top of mind with your customers, try email marketing. Email marketing is a great addition to your other digital marketing activities. Why? It builds customer loyalty and engagement without breaking the bank. And it works on mobile too. In this video, we'll show you how to develop a contact list and how to speak to different audiences based on their interests. We'll also discuss how email marketing helps you build relationships with customers. As with any type of marketing, your first step in email marketing should be to set goals. Do you want to use email to showcase products and services and bring more visitors to your website? Do you want to use email to drive business results, like distributing a coupon that brings in at least 10 sales? No matter what your goals are, a good place to start is by building a list of people who've expressed an interest in your business. So, how do you find these people and get their email addresses? A great place to start is by asking them. Let's say you own a pet supply shop. When you chat with your customers, offer to send them discounts and special offers if they provide an email address. If you have a website, you can include a form which encourages visitors to subscribe online. Keep in mind that people must give you permission to send commercial email, and many countries have laws that require consent. Great. Now you've started to build a list of people who want your emails. Let's think about other ways which email marketing can help you achieve your business goals. Look, you don't want to overwhelm your customers with too much content in one email, or too many emails in succession. Start with a friendly hello and an introduction. Next, you might send information about your shop and the product lines that you sell. At this point, you can ask them one or two questions to narrow down their interest a bit. For example, you don't want to send dog lovers cat food coupons. Then, when you have information about your customers, you can send them specific offers or content they might find interesting. For example, if you know that a group of these customers recently purchased dog food, you might showcase your most popular toys, collars, and leads for dogs. Be sure to include useful information and relevant offers, like tips for dog training or a coupon for dog treats. While you're educating your customers about your business, you can use marketing emails to learn more about them as well. Ask your subscribers if they're interested in receiving updates for other products or services. Then, find out how often they'd prefer to hear from you. For example, do they want to receive emails weekly or monthly? Record what you learn in your email contact database for future email campaigns. How about people who have been on your contact list for a long time? These loyal customers are really important to your business. It's a good idea to build a positive, lasting relationship with them. So, how might you go about this? Well, people appreciate when you anticipate their needs. Let's say certain customers have ordered a flea and tick treatment through your website in the past. Summer is fast approaching, and along with hot weather comes tiny pests that can harm your furry friends. So you put together an email with tips for keeping your house and pet free of ticks and fleas. You might include an offer for 20% off a pre-season order of their preferred brand. Or, from time to time, you might send your loyal cat owners a small gallery with some of the funniest cat videos on the internet. By making your content entertaining and useful, your subscribers will enjoy and appreciate your emails, and you'll likely remain their go-to choice when they're ready to buy. Finally, you can use email to request feedback from your contacts about their shopping and customer support experience, and then respond directly to them. By knowing what went right or what went wrong, you can offer solutions to their issues, or simply thank them for being a customer. So that's it. Email marketing is a great way for you to develop relationships with both potential and existing customers. As you identify your different audiences, you can customize your communications based on their particular interests. By offering useful and engaging content, you can build loyalty over time. A strong customer base will help your business grow. If you want to learn more about email marketing, we've got lots coming up. we'll discuss the different.
All right, so in that video, it kind of showed the importance of email marketing, how it's really great for staying in contact with your existing clients as well as attracting and getting new clients. So what you can do on your website as well as on your social media platforms on your business pages is that you can have a subscribe field where you can say, sign up to my newsletter to receive, special offers or discounts, or, be notified when we got new products or new services. And so, again, when you're using email marketing, you want to, again, not do it as such a hard sell, but you want to, provide some kind of a benefit to them, like, some incentives or some kind of discounts or loyalty, but it also helps track the impact that it has, when people maybe reference that newsletter or code or what have you, or a coupon or whatnot. And so it's a really effective form of marketing, and it can actually be more effective than social media for customer acquisition. I mean, don't get me wrong, social media is an extremely important component to any business. But when it comes to converting people into members, customers, or supporters, email marketing is really effective. In fact, some statistics say that email marketing that you can get an 80% retention rate, where things like organic search you only get about a 36% retention rate. Social media has about a 44% retention rate. Email marketing is really cost effective. So you can, through these platforms, to Constant Contact, MailChimp, the free versions allow you to send out so many emails out per month to so many, such a big list. But you can also have the paid versions, and then you can have more options, and you can send out more emails, obviously. But it's really cost effective to reach a large number of consumers at a rate of nearly nothing per message. So, you want to think of, all these kind of advertising technologies as a overall big picture, and you want to use them, in collaboration with each other. So, a good strategy, what you could do and how effective marketing works is, on the day you have your email newsletter go out with a consistent, some kind of an overall theme or, overall images, you have social media posts that correlate with that, along with maybe some blog posts that correlate with that, so that you're kind of hitting the different areas with the different target advertising. And maybe you do some custom advertising through Google or Facebook, and maybe all the messaging or your campaign is all the same across the board, including your email newsletters. So then because I'm sure you'll learn this more about with the marketing workshops, is that you want to have that frequency. So which is like why you hear, like, for example, radio advertising, you'll hear the business name a whole bunch of times get mentioned in that 30 seconds, because it's that frequency, and that creates that top of mind marketing and advertising. So, with the email marketing, is it also, you can customize it, obviously, and you can, put your branding on it. There's, if you have the paid version, there's not going to be any, other advertising on it, like the Constant Contact. You can have it, you can put links directly from the newsletter right to your website. And what I do is, a lot of times, is I'll have a kind of a short little thumbnail with a title and a couple first sentences of an article, and then to read more you have to click on it, and because it is internet based, is that it'll direct you back to my website, again acting like a funnel, right? So you want to, again, try to amass a bunch of emails, and maybe what you do is, if you have maybe an actual physical location, you ask your customers and clients if you can add their email to your email newsletter, and maybe even give them a small incentive if they give you their email, like a small discount, or to basically attract and build your list, because that email list will become really important for your your marketing. And it's action orientated. This email marketing. And I'll just do a quick found a quick tutorial video about Constant Contact that I'm going to play here. And then after this, we'll go for a short break.
Constant Contact is considered one of the leading email marketing services in the digital marketing industry today. With well over 650,000 customers, their main draw is their award-winning customer service, local live educational workshops, and an extensive library of online resources, in addition to their user-friendly software interface. They recently updated their editing system to drag and drop style, which enables the user to create email campaigns quicker and simpler. They have shortened the steps and made sending beautiful emails easier than ever. The setup of a Constant Contact account is a relatively simple and straightforward process. You will need to enter your basic contact and business information, then create a username and password. You'll then click the button to get started. Next, you can upload email lists to Constant Contact quickly and easily a few ways. One by one, imported from your email client, or via a spreadsheet or text document. What else is really cool about the contact management system is that you can see active contacts, unsubscribed contacts, and view all your contacts. The first step in creating an email is to choose the campaign type. The email option includes standard templates for newsletters, press releases, letters, news, specials, you name it, it's here. Next is email automation. It's essentially a series of emails pre-made by the user that triggers the next email in a series after the subscriber takes an initial action on the email page. Event emails include a separate registration page where subscribers can RSVP for an event and even pay to attend the event by hitting a link or button. The software keeps track of the registrants in a database for an easy printout or by utilizing check-ins on a smartphone. Coupons can be created within an email, offering a percentage or dollar amount discount, and Constant Contact keeps track of the redeemed offers. Surveys are like a questionnaire. You can choose from a customizable survey template with sample questions to use as a guide, or start with a blank survey. You can set it up with multiple choice, yes or no answers, create text boxes, etc. Once you decide on the type of campaign, you will then select and customize a template. For example, we'll choose a standard email campaign. As you'll see, there's a large amount of templates here. The great news is, they're all totally customizable, which allows for an endless number of options so you can stand out from all the other emails. After you click on the template of choice, a series of design options will appear. There are 3 tabs to the left where you make your main design choices after choosing your customizable, mobile-friendly template: Build, Images, and Design. Build is where you create the layout for your email campaign. The block choices include text or content, images, buttons, dividers, social media icons that will connect to your networks, and more. As you'll see, you can drag and drop any element into your layout, and you can customize it at will. After you insert any of these options, you can then move them around the page using the drag and drop feature. As you craft the email, the Constant Contact program will auto-save the changes. The Images tab is a library where you can either upload your images from your computer, or you can choose from Constant Contact's extensive library of free and paid imagery. To upload an image, simply click Upload and drag and drop. And click Upload Files. And there you go, all done. That will be right in your library. The Design tab is where you get creative with font type, font size, font colors, inner and outer borders, patterns for borders, all that stuff. You can also upload your photo or a pattern that will be repeated as the backdrop for your email and will serve as an outer border for the whole layout. So for example, if you want to change the outer background, let's just say you want to go with this color. Very easy. Same thing with the fonts. Say you need it a little bit bigger, that's fine. You want to change it to just straight black. Boom, there you go. As one of the leading email marketing email providers, Constant Contact has several tools to help businesses and nonprofits grow their base and improve communications with their subscribers. They provide personal coaches by phone that will help you with your design and also connect you with locally trained experts that can meet with you in person to assist you with your account setup and email designs. Here's more to consider. You get a free trial account for 60 days with no credit card required. You get prepaid discounts. You get a variety of customized mobile-friendly templates. You get awesome customer service, and it's really easy to use. Anyone can start a free 60-day trial with no credit card required. With the trial, there are some restrictions on the usage compared to a paid account. You can send as many emails as you like in a month, but you are limited to sending to 100 subscribers. 60 days, though, is plenty of time to explore the service and see if it's beneficial to your business or nonprofit. The paid plan starts at $20 per month for up to 500 subscribers. The Email Plus feature adds such options as email automation, event marketing, etc. It starts at $45 per month for up to 500 subscribers. Constant Contact also offers custom marketing services at a premium cost.
All right, so that just kind of gives you a little bit of a kind of a tutorial about email marketing and Constant Contact program. But there's also the MailChimp. I would recommend that you do sign up for a trial version because there's no commitment. It doesn't cost you anything, and like the guy said, you could have up to 100 emails go out. So. But maybe eventually you want to build your list, and paid version makes more sense. Some things to consider is that it is very measurable. You can go on to the platform and see who has opened up the emails, what the click-through rate is on it, and there's some better statistics online as to when to send your email campaigns. There's certain times of day that work better than others, and certain days that work. I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays are pretty good days to send it. Either mid-morning or early afternoon, and you have a higher chance to have your emails opened. But one thing to consider is a lot of times email clients, such as Gmail or Outlook, they have really high, strict kind of spam folder settings, and they also will basically categorize your emails, and sometimes will put newsletters in what's called a social tab or promotion tabs. So sometimes your email marketing lists can get basically put in a subfolder, and maybe your audience doesn't see it. So one good strategy is, what I would do is I would use both one of these these systems like Constant Contact or MailChimp, but also if you have a email to basically craft up an email and just put straight text and maybe send it out as both, and see what works a little bit better, because maybe you get more of an open rate. So there's email marketing. Again, you want to collect as many emails as possible from your clients. So when you're doing business with them, and ask them for their permission, of course. But you can also there's code or buttons that you could take from the newsletter systems and put them on your website, as well as there are apps that you can install on your social media platforms that allow people to sign up to your newsletters from your social media account or from your website. So you want to make sure you have that as part of your marketing strategy. So I see it's 7:07. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and we'll resume at in about 10 minutes.
Chris is taking a much-deserved break. I'm going to put on the screen a notice of what you will be enjoying next week. on June 20. Where is it here? Yeah, June 22nd, 23rd. Marketing, branding, and guerrilla marketing. And these are there's always a ton of interest in marketing, as Chris is talking about the technical aspect of marketing and how to get on with web and social media and all the various platforms. And next week we have Lex Dunn, who is a national marketing consultant and trainer, talking specifically about different strategies and ideas for branding, marketing, creative tools, building brands for Indigenous businesses, guerrilla marketing, which are always an absolute hoot. Again, it's a 2-workshop series next Monday and Tuesday. So I will leave this up on the screen for a couple of minutes, and then we will resume with Chris's excellent webinar on social media and web marketing. So
All right. Hello, everybody. So where we kind of left off was, we're talking about email marketing and the importance of obviously social media and advertising and the different platforms that are available, Google AdWords. And so, basically you have all these different platforms and different ways of trying to attract new clients and as well as communicate with your existing clients. Your website's pretty much the cornerstone of your business these days. It's where people go to kind of look for your information on your company, your products, your services, learn more about you, find your contact information, maybe a map, how to get to your location. Maybe you sell products online, maybe you have your products there and you sell products online through your store. Pretty much most websites, again, are run through WordPress. WordPress is a open source web system and otherwise known as a content management system. And it allows you to basically edit it and add content very easily through what you call a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get. So it's easy to go into the pages and basically edit the pages and the content and write it out. You don't have to be a coder, and you can update the website very easily. And it's very important to keep updating your website. Remember that thing I started the presentation off about total quality management? Well, with the web and how Google works is they want to see you updating your website all the time. They want to make sure you're adding blogs. They want to make sure you're adding new pictures. They want to make sure you're constantly editing that website and adding new, fresh content because that's how they're going to rank your website really high. And so with those WordPress websites, I showed you a quick tutorial the other night about going to ThemeForest and looking up these premium web systems. And you can search through, maybe you have a salon, right? And you can go onto that ThemeForest website and look for salon themes that may work really good for you and have, a bunch of preloaded content, photos, icons that are all salon based. And so, you can use that and then basically just edit it. I would recommend, if you are a business and you do want to be legit and professional, I would definitely recommend hiring a web developer, web programmer to help you customize that website. I told you and gave you some platforms such as Upwork, where you can go and you can hire web developer, web programmers, and you probably could save a lot of money. Now, just be very cautious, be very careful who you hire. They need to be very qualified and understand how business works. I think that's the main thing. There's definitely a different varying level of quality between countries. And in North America, we have a very high level of quality. We like things that look aesthetically good. So if you're hiring a programmer, say in India, they don't necessarily have that same sense of quality. So you just got to be very conscious and be very careful of that. What works good is if you have, say, a local person who can direct that marketing and help you set up that website. So I would definitely look at WordPress because, chances are you're probably going to be managing that website yourself. You obviously, you need to set up a website address, otherwise known as a URL, and that's your, www.yourbusinessname.com or .ca. And so, if you are just basically a Canadian-based company and you're selling products or services just to Canadians, the .ca one works just fine. I use, there's a few different domain searches you can use. Instant domain search is one. GoDaddy has a domain search and they sell domains. GoDaddy's kind of like the Walmart for website addresses, and I would recommend just buying your domain through GoDaddy because they're pretty easy to do business with as far as registering domains. And it doesn't hurt to register a couple domains because you can always direct those domains over to your other site. But if you are planning on selling internationally and to a more of a worldwide worldwide market, you probably want to try to get a .com because they're kind of the most known and Another good strategy around that is to try to include the name of your business in that name as well, or the product that your main product, or or something that has some kind of significant meaning, or that would be a keyword that would be used to search for your product or services. And then, so you got your domain and it's registered through GoDaddy. Then you need to, and you got your theme, you got your website platform through ThemeForest. You need to physically have those files hosted on what's called a web server. And one that I've used in the past is HostGator. There's Dream Server. There's a ton of web hosting companies, and it depends on what kind of level of service you want, but it varies on the cost. It can cost as where it's like a few dollars per month, up to $20, $30, $50 a month, depending on how much traffic you get to your website. So you just want to make sure that that you have a good hosting company. And so you upload your website, your files to the server. Again, you probably have someone help you out with that process. And then, or maybe you already have a website, but chances are you probably are going to be refreshing or redeveloping your website every 3 years. Seems to be about on average. And so again, some of the really most important aspects about having a good website is, updating it. And one of the ways you can update it is through your blog. Now, I'm going to play a short little video here just about kind of updating your website and the strategies around updating it.
There are over 1.94 billion websites on the internet. There are over 1 billion blogs on the internet. That's roughly one blog for every 7 people in this world. There are over 4 million blog posts that are being published each and every single day. Hey everyone, I'm Neil Patel, and today I'm going to answer the question of, is blogging still worth it? Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you're on YouTube, this way whenever I go live, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you'll get notified. Now, the short answer to this question is no. The long answer to the question is yes. Now, don't just shut off this video and stop blogging if you have a blog. In the traditional sense, blogging is not worth it, of just creating text-based content, cranking out a ton, and expecting it to do wonders for you. Here's what you need to do if you want to still thrive in the blogging world today and in the future. Number 1, don't just focus on text-based content. Traditionally, blogs were just text-based content, and that's what people would publish. And they would just say, hey, here's my website, here's a blog post, and that's it. And that's great. But you know what? Now, text-based content isn't everything. We all use something called a mobile phone. This mobile phone, people are using it to watch videos, listen to podcasts. So when you're blogging, don't just blog text-based content, create video-based content, create audio-based content, publish that on your blog. Also publish it on other channels as well. And that's the second thing that I wanted to get into. Blogging is no longer about just putting content on your site. That content should sit everywhere. You may be wondering, Neil, but Google penalizes for duplicate content. No, that's a myth. Google does not penalize for duplicate content. They've stated it publicly, so you don't have to worry about that. So take that blog text-based content that you have, also repost it on Facebook, also repost it on LinkedIn, right? You want to put it wherever you can. Heck, I would even create a medium.com account and repost it on Medium as well. Take your videos, put it on YouTube, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram TV. Have you noticed wherever you're watching this video, go to any other social network, look me up, you'll see the same video. Why? Because I post the same content everywhere. Some people use YouTube, some people use Facebook. People are spread on all these social platforms. I want to capture them everywhere. The third thing that you need to know is blogging on how it used to be, in which you just create text-based content, you rank, you drive that traffic to a product, a service, collect leads, you do well. Blogging doesn't work that way anymore. Blogging is very expensive, and here's what I mean.
let's say you get these rankings. Then Google comes around, they release a Google update. Have you noticed that the people that get hit the most with these updates and don't rank as high are the sites that aren't updating their content? Look at Wikipedia. Whatever you search for, I bet you they're probably on page 1. Why? Because Wikipedia is constantly updating that same article over and over again. Yes, maybe they're not doing it, but the community is. The same will go with your website. If you update your content over and over again, keep it fresh, up to date with the latest and greatest, you're going to do better. But if you don't, you'll notice that your rankings will continually slip over time. Maybe not your main page or the parent pages, but your pages that are going after long tail phrases, those are the ones that'll continually slip if you're not updating your content on a regular basis. To give you an idea, currently I have 3 people employed full-time. All they do is update my old text-based content. If you do all of that, you'll also find that blogging still doesn't produce as big of a ROI as it did 4, 5, 6 years ago. And why is this? It's because no matter where people are and what they're using, it's harder to convert them, especially on these mobile devices. Harder to convert them off of YouTube than it is from your own domain. Harder to convert them from Facebook than your own domain, because Facebook wants to keep people on there so they make more ad revenue. So this is the last tip, and this will end up making blogging worth it for you to continually do. You gotta continually collect emails and push subscribers. So you can use tools like subscribers.com or HelloBart or MailChimp, use whatever you want. If you continually get these people to come back to your site, get them to subscribe, that'll give you a shot at selling those people over time. If you don't sell them over time, it won't do as well from you. If you expect people to just watch a YouTube video or a Facebook video and buy from you right away, it's not gonna happen. That's why it's very important to build that audience through email, push, when they come to your site, and get them to keep continually come back, so that way you can convert them over time. If you make those changes and you adapt, blogging is still worth it. If you don't and you just want to focus on writing a text-based content, never update it, write Me Too content, the same stuff that everyone else is going to write on, you're not going to do that well. But when you change to that fresh new perspective, that's when you'll notice you're still going to get an ROI from blogging. If you need help with your content marketing, generating a better ROI, getting more traffic, check out my ad agency.
All right, there. So that fellow here is very, Neil is really smart with marketing and knows his stuff. So again, so just a couple quick strategies around, having a website. There's more than just having a blog and putting content on it and updating it. You need to constantly be updating it. And some of the things that he had suggested was, like video, for example, is like super powerful. Having a video on your website that talks about your products or your services or even about yourself is going to help you obviously get a better ranking online. It's going to build authority as far as your, the perception and and how people view your company. It'll educate people. And again, it's really easy and it's cheap to do. Everyone's got a mobile phone, so it's pretty easy to make videos. Just again, don't do this. Make sure the audio sounds good. And it's really easy. It's free. You can upload it to YouTube, and then you take the website address URL and then put it on your website blog. And then this is as simple as putting it right in, copy and pasting it, and then the little video will pop up on your page on your website. And then you can maybe write a little bit of short description about the video or incorporate it with a blog. And then he also mentioned podcasts. So podcasts are obviously really popular these days, and where it's more based on audio. And again, most phones now here have a voice recorder where you can simply record your audio, and then you can basically upload it to your computer or email it to yourself, and then you can upload it to your website, or you can upload it to your social media platforms. And it can be, informative. It can be, an introduction. It can be a series all about how to. There's this kind of misconception or this idea that I don't really want to share all my, secrets about how I do my business, or, I want to tell people too much about, how I do this, or what I do, because maybe then other people will hear about it and people will steal my idea or learn how to do it and then beat me. But you can't think like that anymore, because it's already out there. And if people want to find it, they're going to look for it and they're going to find it. I mean, you just have to go to YouTube or Google, and you pretty much can learn about almost anything already. So really what you do is you put it out there. I mean, I'm telling everybody right now on here exactly what I do and how I do it. And I'm not afraid of it, because what I'm doing is that I'm sharing my knowledge, and there's a good chance that some people are going to take this information and they're going to use it, and they're going to use it for their business, and they're going to do it themselves. Excellent. Well, that's great. But there's still, I know if I put this out there, just like the fella Neil did, that he's going to, he's by giving all his tips, his secrets, and his tricks, that there's still going to be a percentage of people that are going to go to him and ask him to do it. Why? Because people in business don't have the time to do it, or they maybe have some time, but they don't have enough time, or maybe they just don't have the expertise or the willingness to learn how to do it themselves, or maybe their time is better spent doing what they're doing for their business, making money that way. So back to my point about authority, you want to position yourself as an authority in your business, and one of these ways you can do that, or a few ways you can do that, is exactly what Neil had said. Blogging, video, podcasts, going back and re-editing your previous content and adding more content, and all those things are going to build you as an authority in your subject, and your business and your service. So don't just put a website up and just leave it and expect that you're going to get a good ranking, and people are going to come to your business or hire you. There's a lot more to it, and you have to be constantly investing, constantly that kind of TQM idea, total quality management, where you're always improving your marketing, always improving your website, always improving your customer service and your offerings, and then that's how you're going to build your business. So e-commerce, some of you probably are doing some e-commerce. Probably some of you may want to get into that. It's an exciting world. There's a ton of opportunity. You've probably heard this buzzwords like drop shipping. We talked a little bit about that before. It's a way, or white labeling, where you can basically take a product that someone else is making, you can build a new website for it or find ways to resell it, and you can basically make some margins off some products from other people selling it, and then just maybe put that product with a bunch of other products that are like-minded, and then position and sell that. And there's a lot of ways you can sell your products. WordPress has plugins called WooCommerce, and it's a great kind of a commerce platform that allows you to easily add products onto your websites, set prices, add discounts, add inventory. You get notified when inventory is low, as well as you can also take payments. You can select how you take payments. You can add in there. You can add in like shipping costs, and you can even dial in with Canada Post the specifics, so that it automatically calculates exactly how much it's going to ship to cost to ship to certain cities throughout Canada. And there's also other platforms, obviously, like Shopify, which just recently surpassed Royal Bank to be the most valuable company in Canada, I believe. And so they're, it's a growing company. It's pretty amazing. They're a platform that it's kind of a built-in website system that you can basically, pay to subscribe to, and then again you can add your products and your services, and it's like basically a website, a complete website, and you can add your own custom website address. And they have a ton of like third-party apps that allow you to add, special tools and marketing things to it, and that basically streamlines your business. So if you're strictly just online selling and maybe you're not as tech savvy, Shopify is definitely going to be a good platform to do that with. And then there's Amazon and eBay. And in fact, with Shopify, you can integrate that with Amazon and eBay. So what I mean by that is that you can hook up Amazon and eBay through your Shopify account so that when you post products on your Shopify website, it will also display on Amazon and eBay. Now, it can be a little bit technical, and you may want to have someone help you with that. And I admit I've tried to do it, and I've done it, but it took a big learning curve for myself to how to figure it out, and there was a bunch of roadblocks. So, again, you might want to find a professional who can help you with that. But if you have a really, great idea, great business, and you're selling online, Shopify is definitely a great system, and integrated with Amazon and eBay, because you get an entire market. It's huge. And, even though those companies, it costs obviously to have an Amazon subscription to be a seller, and same with eBay, take a percentage or maybe a monthly fee. The reach that those platforms have is incredible. Like, it's massive. So definitely check those out. Look up, WooCommerce versus Shopify videos and see, what one makes more sense for you. So analytics, obviously, understanding where your traffic's coming from, who's going to your website, where they're coming from is all really important. So, with your Google's accounts, you're going to have a Gmail, and you're going to register your business with Google My Business, and you're going to use that same Gmail, and you're going to sign up for a Google Analytics account. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to add your Google Analytics to your website. And then what you can do is on your Google Analytics, it can really give you really detailed, valuable information about, where people are coming from, how they're getting there, how long they're staying on your page, where do they go once they go to your website. So it'll map out all the traffic, and so you can see which pages are the most important on your site. So then you can maybe edit those pages to, beef them up a bit, or add more content, or add a contact form to try to capture that lead. And so it just gives you really good, valuable information that can help you with your business, and see where the trends are, and how you did, and where traffic comes from, and look at previous stats from previous years or previous days or months, and then maybe if there's something that you did differently that worked really good, then you can emulate that and redo that. Same with Facebook. Facebook, your business page is going to have a link at the top, and it's going to say Insights. Unfortunately, you only can do about 28 days with Facebook Insights. But again, you can see, how many new likes you got on your page, what kind of reach you had for your posts, and, some more detailed information that can allow you to see where you did good and what didn't do good. And then you can try to focus on the things that you did good more. So you can see what was popular, what was interesting. Some other technology I really like, again, I mentioned before, is file storage, Google Drive, Dropbox. Again, these are apps, and Google Drive is free, and Dropbox is free, but up to a certain amount of storage space, and then you have to pay for a subscription. Then there's Evernote. Evernote's kind of like a notepad where you can download the app on your phone, and maybe you have a to-do list, or you need to make notes, and it's really good for kind of storing these kind of like small little notepads, but on your cell phone. And you can also have it on your computer, and it'll sync up so that if you're out, you got your phone, and you think of a really good idea, you can write down on Evernote, you can write down these good ideas, and you can store it for later. And then when you're on your computer, you open up and say, oh yeah, that was a really good idea, I need to send this to so-and-so, I need to send this on Slack to my team, and so they can implement it, or whatever. So some other things that we've seen that's worked really good with COVID is obviously video conferencing, and this software here, Click Meetings, is a really good example of it. Maybe you are a coach, and maybe you do mentoring or whatever, and so having these types of platforms can basically, you can increase your reach, and you can collaborate, and you can use it to your advantage for your business. You can create a whole business out of just being able to video conference with people. And there's obviously there's some free options like Skype, Google Hangouts, as well as FaceTime. We all have that. We probably talk to mom and dad or grandma, grandpa, or your partner through FaceTime. But as we become more digital, we really got to understand the importance in business of relationships. And text messaging and emails are so impersonal that you kind of, it's just too convenient, and you kind of lose sight of that face-to-face personal touch and that relationships. And I know, like in business in the past, where I've been in roles where I worked in advertising and advertising sales, and it became so faceless because you're doing all this business through phone and email, that when you did take the time to go out and see people and visit them or do video to video, the people really like that. And it builds relationships, because again, in business, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And chances are you're going to be successful in business because people want to do business with you, not because of what you're selling or what products you have, but because they want to support you and your business. So that's one thing to really really keep in the back of your mind as you're growing your business, is that importance and that need for relationships in business, and to try to go out of your way to just pick up the phone, see how they're doing, make sure they're happy with your products or services, and or just drop in unexpectedly. Obviously with the COVID situation, it's a little different at the moment. Maybe they're not in their office or whatever, but as things get back a bit more normal, that you just basically understand that that need for that relationships. And again, video conferencing, FaceTime, all these things can really help. Mobile phones have completely revolutionized how we do business. There's really not an excuse why you can't communicate. Again, text messages, voice, sending files, responding to clients and suppliers. And there's so many different ways to use your cell phone, like getting a business card. You can take a picture of it to save that contact. You can document stuff, or take pictures and upload them quickly, or do little short audio clips and send that audio clip to somebody, or send that back to yourself as a reminder. And as well, again, with these file sharing systems like Dropbox and Google, you can go on your phone if you need to say, oh yeah, I have that document or that form here, just let me go to my Dropbox and let me just pull that up. Like, for example, when I've traveled, I've kept copies of all my passports or my important documents, and I save them to Dropbox. And then anytime I've ever needed to pull up an emergency copy of something, then I have that on Dropbox, and works really good. You keep your Excel documents, your Word documents, images and all that kind of stuff. But that's just the power of mobile phones now, that you can have that, right? You can keep all this, store of all your messages and your pictures and your contacts, and as well as your appointments and your calendars, or your reminders. There's just so many different ways to use your phones nowadays that it's really kind of unlimited amount of apps. So again, like how I started off the technology workshops, is you really got to be conscious of your time that you spend on your phones, how much, because you can really waste a ton of time on technology, on mobile phones, and you can just get zoned out where you're just mindlessly scrolling, or you can just waste a lot of time just not being productive. So just be aware that while mobile phones can be very convenient and they can be very helpful, but that they can also be negative, and that the technology can be counterproductive. So it's a good strategy to detox from it once in a while, and use it as a tool like it's intended for. If you use it for some entertainment, it's fine, but just don't use it too much. And just be very conscious of how much screen time youth have. make sure that they're not on technology too much. And there's a lot of bullying with technology these days, and and I know there's bullying that's not just with youth but with adults. I see that with how some people feel that they can bully businesses online by leaving really bad, scathing reviews. And again, you have to really be on top of that and monitor that, as you pretty much have to be your own kind of public relations manager online these days. And again, monitor these reviews, monitoring comments, and stuff that people leave on your social media platforms and stuff like that, because they can be very detrimental. And one quick example before we wrap up tonight is I have a builder who's building a multifamily project of mine, and I guess they're also building another multifamily project for this developer. And they have these advertised posts out on Facebook for this townhouse project. And I guess the townhouse project is behind a McDonald's on Bowen Road. And you should see all the comments that people are leaving on it, like, oh, that'd be great, waking up to the smell of McDonald's deep fryers every day. And that'll be great. The crackheads will be moving in no time. These kind of really negative type of comments. Well, if I'm interested in buying a townhouse and I see that and I click on that and I'm looking at the comments, what am I going to think? Like, do I really want to buy this place with all, these really negative comments and reviews? Probably not. So, if you are going to go, do some of these strategies that I've suggested, such as, Facebook advertising and whatnot, you just have to make sure you monitor it as well. And if you're not going to do it, make sure someone else is monitoring it, because as good as reach and, the power of these technologies can have, that there are the cons and the negatives behind it. So you just have to make sure you have those strategies in place to, prevent any of those negative stuff from happening. So yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. And, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch these presentations. I really enjoyed doing them. Really like the technology and business and marketing. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, wants to meet up for coffee or meet up video conferencing or have a phone chat, by all means, take my information down, reach out to me, and maybe there's a way I can help you in your business. Again, I do a digital marketing and advertising for a business. So thanks, Jay, for the opportunity. I'll turn it over back to you now.
Webinars. I'm just going to bring this up on the screen one more time, just to make sure everybody knows what's coming up next week. Monday, Tuesday, marketing, branding, and guerrilla marketing, which is an absolute hoot to discuss, especially when you have a facilitator like Lex Dunn. And he's going to be talking about branding for Indigenous businesses, marketing ideas, guerrilla marketing, etc. And that's about it. So thank you again, Chris. It's been great. We look forward to possibly doing this again next year. There's been some talk about that. We're getting a decent turnout, and we're getting some interest from all our family. And thank you all very much. And we'll see you next Monday. Invitations will be going out later this week to give you the link. And that's great. Stay well, stay safe, isolate, social distance, all the things that we've been taught, all these terms that we never even knew existed before. But just stay cool, and we will see you all next week. Thank you and good night.